But make no mistake, if any object presents a threat to the safety and security of the American people, I will take it down. I expect to be speaking with President Xi, and I hope we're going to get to the bottom of this. But I make no apologies for taking down that balloon. Thank you very much.
And President Biden finally breaking his silence, as you saw there, on the Chinese spy balloon and the 3 other unidentified objects that were spotted over U.S. airspace. He says the intelligence community's current assessment of the objects recently shot down is that they were not related to the Chinese spy balloon program or from other state actors, and were most likely balloons, get this, tied to private companies, recreation or research institutions like a hobby balloon or a weather balloon. Well, joining us now to talk about all of this and the fallout is Tennessee Congressman and member of the House Oversight and Accountability and Foreign Affairs Committee, Congressman Tim Burchett. It's so great to have you here, Congressman. You know, this is amazing to me. There aren't any countries and there aren't any other entities stepping forward, basically taking account of these balloons. And as you may have heard, I mean, this is incredible. In fact, it's the Illinois Balloon Club that's basically saying they think that their $12 balloon may have been shot down by one of our Sidewinder missiles that cost $439,000. What is your reaction to all of this?
I suspect the Pentagon's going to come to, oh, thank you for having me on, ma'am, as always. But I suspect the Pentagon's going to come to us and say, hey, we need more money. And we'll need another $1 trillion in their budget that they can't find billions already that we've audited on. It's laughable, really. The first balloon should have been shot down. Leon Panetta, a Democrat, very well respected, very partisan, head of the CIA under Obama, and President Obama's chief of staff, said we should have shot the thing down in Alaska or the Aleutian Islands, the very first one. The last, it's laughable. The world is just laughing at us, ma'am, and it was just a response to it was a political knee jerk on the others. For us to not know what these things are is completely ridiculous. And when a satellite can tell you the head of a dime can tell you the date on it, that's sitting on the New York on the pitcher's mound at Yankee Stadium. I mean, dadgummit, we ought to be able to tell what these things are. And our military intelligence, I've said this before, military intelligence is a whole lot like congressional ethics. I wonder if it exists.
You talked about sort of the chain of events, because you're right. How did the military that were flying, their F-22s or F-16s by these, notice that they were maybe something different than a hobby balloon? I mean, you would think you would be able to tell the difference. And also, what did they say to the White House? To that end, Congressman, will you call for hearings? Because as you say, right, they're going to come at some point and say we need more money. And we know that even one of these Sidewinder missiles missed. So that's $500,000. I mean, it's astounding the amount of money. Will you call for hearings to find out who said what, who made the call, and what information did the White House have or what didn't they have?
100%, ma'am. You're exactly right. We will call for hearings. Chairman Comer is on top of this thing from day one. I think also you need to ask, why did General Milley tell the president, no, in fact, he would not shoot those down, the first one down? And then, of course, they let it transverse our entire continental United States. They could have dropped it in Montana, which has very little population. They dropped it off the coast of Myrtle Beach. It's more likely to hit somebody in a tie-dyed T-shirt with a mullet on a shrimp boat than it was to hit anybody in Montana. This whole thing is laughable, and our military telling our president, no, in fact, we will not shoot it down. And then we shoot them down in Alaska in these areas where we can't get to, but civilians have shown videos of them being shot down. So the whole thing is just a mystery to us, and we need to get to the bottom of it. But I suspect it's just an overstepping of power in our Pentagon, and they need to come clean with what's going on.
You may have heard this also, Congressman, it just came out in the last few hours, that they are stopping the search for these other unidentified objects, maybe the hobby balloon, in Alaska and also over Lake Huron. So we may never know what those objects are. What's your reaction to that?
Well, again, our military intelligence is lacking. They're going to come to us and want more money, and we need to make them account for what they have, ma'am. This is a joke. It's really internationally, it's embarrassing for this country, the most technologically advanced country in the world, and yet we can't tell whether it was a hobby balloon, a UFO, or whatever, or a Chinese balloon. And it's until you put American citizens at danger and at risk every time they put a plane in the air in a military operation. But the first balloon is the one we really need to focus on. I suspect these others are just a way for us to lose our focus on the president's inability to grasp what's going on and our military playing into that. So we need to get to the bottom of it. The first is a real one. The last three were distractions, I'm afraid.
And by the way, Congressman, before I let you go, switching gears, I'm sure you've heard about this 3 weeks ago. DirecTV dropped Newsmax from their lineup. Famed legal mind Alan Dershowitz even wrote a recent op-ed in Newsweek, and I want to show you a quote of it. It says, while DirecTV's decision may have been legally permissible, it was wrong and frankly un-American to deny Newsmax access to its platform, making it impossible for viewers to see the channel and exercise their civic right to take part in the marketplace of ideas. And in true bipartisan fashion, Texas Senator Ted Cruz tweeted about Dershowitz's article, calling it powerful. Even a Democrat with an arguably strong handle on the law is saying this was the wrong move. Does the Judiciary Committee intend to look into this decision by DirecTV?
I hope so. Chairman Jordan's got his hands full with everything else going on, but I suspect he's been looking at this. Went to the House floor and even spoke on this issue. It's an obvious attempt of big tech to censor a conservative view. Can you imagine what would happen if the CNN, which is the liberal lapdog, had been boxed out? Oh, the outcry would be awful. There'd be rioting in the streets, but because y'all are a conservative voice, they're being silent. But I salute Alan Dershowitz. Excellent move. Excellent article. Yes, ma'am. I think we need to go ahead with the hearings.
Thank you very much. Congressman Tim Burchett, really great to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, ma'am. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Always great to see you too, sir.